Okay, let's post this. Let's blast off. Let's do it. That's a funny tweet, but I missed that. Hassan Parker says he's too busy to date Kim Kardashian, even if she was interested. Cancel culture isn't real to the creator of the I Like Girls song is leaving the internet. This is where your actions lead you. First of all, like, it's not. Cancel culture only happens when your assumed fan base decides to no longer watch you for a multitude of different reasons. You can only be canceled by your own ideological peers, which is why being a fucking leftist is the absolute worst thing you can be, because leftists love engaging in like unnecessary acts of cancellations, I guess, like incredibly unnecessary acts. Okay? As far as like cancellation goes, this guy didn't get quote unquote canceled. He posted Cringe, which many people liked, by the way. Like, much more people liked than actually hated. Okay? And then, understandably, he felt like that was impossible to fucking deal with, because I've been the butt of the joke for being cringe on Twitter before. It sucks. Okay? Say virtue signaling. I know you want to. What do you mean? I Like Girls guy is an Icarus situation anyway. He's now getting a lot of positive attention, but with what's going on, is going to bring a bunch of people digging into his online past, and I guarantee he's full of weirdo shit. He needs to stay in his positive little lane as Twitter after all. Yeah, it's just that, like, here's the thing. Everyone is incredibly cynical on Twitter. Everyone is. I know this. I myself participate in this as well. It's just like so funny because the person was just simply making a joke about how cringe it is. Originally, Hessa was originally making a joke about how fucking cringe it is, right? She posted it and was like, I made this. And everybody in that, like, Twitter irony circuit understood that for what it was, but the creator didn't understand it and basically ended up quote tweeting it and being like, well, I made this actually. Okay? I made this actually. And then all hell broke loose because then their fans... Then this creator, Jokat's fans, were like, fuck you, like, you know, how dare you try to steal this work of art from my favorite content creator, when that wasn't the case at all. It's cringe to go out of your way to make fun of someone for doing nothing malicious. I think, like, it happens all the time. That's how Jokat has been a content creator for a long time. He seems like a cool dude. I don't think he has skeletons in his closet like you think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about this guy at all. I'm not saying he has skeletons in his closet. I'm simply stating that, like, his biggest crime is the worst thing you could have done, okay? Post Cringe. That's it. It's the worst thing you could do on Twitter. Twitter will treat you like you are a pariah. Twitter will treat you, if the rest of Twitter decides that what you are doing is cringe, then they will literally fucking send you to cringe jail, okay? Best possible thing you can do in this circumstance, and I literally, as someone who gets hunted down on a daily fucking basis for similar things, the best thing you can do in this circumstance is just to not ever reply. Never signal boost it. Don't ever reply to it. Just, you know, don't even try to play off with it, because some of those people that want to get mad at you want to literally actually hunt you down, because, like, a lot of people on Twitter are just mentally ill. They're super mentally ill. So they're not actually interested in being like, lol, this is such a funny fucking tweet, or this is such a fucking stupid thing that this guy made. They want to be like, I want to kill you. Okay? So don't even reply to it. He's been getting death threats for like 2 years from that video. It's just not that it's cringe. Yeah. It was fun cringe, Sag. Yeah, I feel sad about it. I do feel sad about it. Because, like, I also joked around about it as well. Like, I mean, I showed the video and quote unquote tortured you with it, but I don't want that person to get fucking yelled at. I don't want that person to get hunted. I don't want this person to get fucking bullied. You know what I mean? It's just a fucking cringe video. Who gives a shit? Who fucking gives a shit? This is why I always say, don't tap the fucking glass, right? Do not tap the fucking glass. Same shit with the sorbet or sorbet girls that wanted to become J-pop idols, right? Like, oh, and here's an update, by the way, from Claire Penis, Zero Suit Camus, Hessa, says, I'm sorry to Jokat for the joke. I genuinely feel bad. I didn't know it would blow up like that. More his fault than mine that it did. because he quote tweeted it to his 150,000 followers who replied yelling at me 1,300 times, which kind of boosted it, but I digress. I really actually do feel bad though. It was a dumb joke, and I wouldn't have made it if I knew the result of him would be quitting content creation indefinitely. I think he and I are in the same position, afraid of each other's followers, and if he ever wants to squash the beef, I'm here. Yeah, you're literally fine. The joke wasn't even bashing him or his content. It was implying you made the content that you didn't. No. That was a way to be like, yo, look at this shitty video. It's cringe, which it is. I mean, it is cringe. What is the beef, bro? You just randomly shit on him? What do you mean? Not everyone finds that branded, detached, advanced, sarcastic, ironic humor to be the highest form of art, and shitting on someone for not understanding it makes you look pathetic. Complete non-apology, by the way. Like, getting this mad at Hessa is also fucking ridiculous, okay? As someone who is in the crosshairs of a lot of the irony poison Twitter orbit, I will say it like this, okay? I think everyone is very cringe, okay? At the bottom of their fucking hearts, deep down inside, we all have a shit ton of cringe things, okay? We all do a shit ton of cringe things. And I think a lot of people want to distance themselves from that kind of behavior by constantly pointing to other people and being like, I'm not cringe, this guy is. Okay? That's it. I'm not cringe, dog. That guy is actually, as a matter of fact. Trust me, that's the fucking actual cringe guy, not me. People do it all the time. People do it to me all the time, right? And ultimately, I think it's a silly fucking way to operate. I do personally look at like fascinating, funny things on the internet, and I try to balance that in a way that is not like harmful to the subject matter in general, regardless of what actually ends up happening from time to time. There are also instances where people will like falsely claim that I'm the reason why people get pushed out of the internet. Like, remember the sorbet shit? That was me literally looking at a group that was already being doxxed and saying, these people don't deserve to get doxxed. And yet a lot of the Nazis decided to grab onto that and thought they could activate the J-pop idol community online to also fucking despise me, to make it seem like I was the one who actually was, championing the doxing of these people for being cringe. And it was ridiculous because their doxing had, preceded my coverage of the matter, because my coverage of the matter actually covered the doxing aspect as well and how fucking ridiculous it is. Post on Twitter, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I don't think you feel that way. I don't think you would want, you can only get away with saying that if you yourself are not putting yourself out there online, right? Like if you're not online, yeah, you get to say this regularly. If you're not online ever, then yeah, cool take from you. But the reality is, the reality is that everyone enjoys dumb shit from time to time. And also, on top of that, no one wants to be in the crosshairs in the same way. A lot of chatters get a pit in their stomachs when you pull their logs on stream. Now imagine that on Twitter times 1,000. Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird, fascinating phenomena in online spaces and online culture, but I feel bad that Jokat has decided it was too much, that he was really gay for girls, which you should be allowed to. In the famous words of Liv Agar, fellas, you should be allowed to be a little gay for pussy, okay? It's fine. It's fine to be a little gay. It's fine to be the gayest man on the planet for pussy. It's okay. This is funny. Alexis Spud says, I stopped being irony poison and stopped shitting on people I find cringe when I started taking medication. Do with this information what you will. Thank you for the update. It's like that fucking stan account posting, like, I started taking my antipsychotic medication and I found that I'm no longer standing BTS or something. Dude, that's what he's getting this much harassment for? Jesus fucking Christ. It's like weird because on the one hand, I'm very familiar and friends with a lot of the irony poison leftist Twitter community, okay? And on the other hand, I also have been in the crosshairs of many people that are in the adjacent periphery communities of such. Okay. So I've seen this issue on either side. I have consumed the video and made jokes about it, saying it's cringe. This chat just hates trans women making jokes, unless it's Juniper, I guess. Yeah, Hessa is great. She's a wonderful person, as far as I know. And I don't think that she's like, I don't think that she was like genuinely trying to be malicious and didn't think that it would explode into this situation that led to Jokat leaving the internet indefinitely. I don't think Jokat will leave the internet indefinitely, but I do think that when you are, for the first time ever in your life, in the crosshairs of that kind of like ostensibly leftist irony poison Twitter attacking you, I know what that's like. It takes years and years of ritualistic abuse to be able to get over that hump and be like, oh, we're here again? Who gives a shit? Whatever, moving on. Anyway, my name is Joe, and I've been making videos on YouTube for 5 years. I've combined a total of about 200 videos and hundreds of hours of content. On October 6th, I did a live stream of the early access of Baldur's Gate 3. During the character creation, I did a brief where I sing a gender-bent parody of Lizzo's Boys. It seemed to go over well my audience and all my friends. I typically do these kinds of bits on live streams sometimes. I was also partially inspired by the source of where I first heard Lizzo's song, Hakim's Animations video. One of the idea by my friends who were very encouraging. About a year later, I seem to have reached outside his target audience, and ever since then, I have seen and received many assumptions about my character, my history, my beliefs, my relationships, and all of those, my partner, as well as threats of violence to me, as well as my family, doxing attempts and mocking from even people I look up to and respect. That probably hurts the most. This part is the worst. That is the worst aspect of like irony poison left Twitter, is that it's usually people that you are on the same side of ideologically that are hitting you with this, right? And then that makes you feel bad because you're like, well, what the fuck, you know? I was once banned by someone I looked up to. Okay, chill out. Don't try to personalize this and make it seem like me clapping you for fucking a week. I've spent years in the suicidal alcoholic guys who hate use DMs telling him you're actually cool and it's worked like 80% of the time. People take this shit too far online and too easily. Yeah. There's a lot of those guys on Twitter for sure. Would you call that side of Twitter the alt left, or is that a fake term? I mean, it's like, it's a weird term because like it's not just leftist either, because there are a lot of those people who then become like unironically racist. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the Twitter power users ideologically will start off and be like, I'm actually an irony poison leftist. Like I want healthcare, but also like I want to say some slurs every now and then. And it's like, whatever. And then they become like increasingly more on the slur side. Is the Twitter community is not left or right? It's people who get bricked up if they hit 100 likes. Yeah. So I mean, there's truth to that too. And then, you know, depending on how far down that fucking rabbit hole you go, maybe you even become personally a Catholic and decide that you're actually just a right-wing Catholic person now. And that's the only way to escape the art hoe allegations. Okay? When you get a PhD from fucking, you know, an arts college. And then you're like, I actually am not a cigarette smoking Brooklyn podcast host. I'm actually the white working class whisperer. Ooh, Dime Square. Isn't it so cool and subversive? Look at all the art we're making at Dime Square. Everything we're doing at Dime Square is sick. We're doing fashion here. And it's like, you haven't produced shit. You just got fucking New York Times write-ups. That's it. Where's the shit you produced? Nothing. You didn't produce anything. Nothing came out of that. There's a bunch of fucking trust fund kids who are like, we live in New York, but we also think New York is gay. And also, I hate the lockdowns. Adam Friedland. Adam does not deserve this treatment. Adam is unironically not a part of this at all. Because he does actually literally produce shit. Like the Adam Friedland show. Anyway, it's just like, there's a lot of stuff like that, and it's mostly clout and vibes, and it's usually people that, how do I describe it? there's not really much going on there. It's just like a point of fascination for liberal intelligentsia that then turn around and place a lot of emphasis on it because like a couple minor celebrities or even maybe one major celebrity has personally been interested in this and thinks it's subversive and genre defying. So that's it. Anyway, why am I talking about this? Because I mean, it's just one aspect of Twitter culture. I do feel sad that this person got a shit ton of hatred for making a little bit of cringe, for being just a little gay about pussy, you know? It's all right. It's not the end of the world. Twitter needs to fucking dial it back and be like, Twitter needs to just, you know, scale it back a little bit. Doesn't mean that this guy's like a sex pest. I mean, yeah, it's cringe, just a little off. Okay, it's fine. I don't know what the perfect approach to this is. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how to like deal with this, right? I wish there was a way to be like, how can we consume stuff that we find to be fascinating and cringe without like a bunch of people jumping on the fucking bandwagon and being like, this person deserves to die? Because there is a difference between like what people on Twitter do that do this sort of thing, and then like the serialized content creators on the dark side of the commentary space, you know, the Keemstar adjacent commentary guys, the Sunny V2s of the world, and the and even worse aspects of the dark side of the commentary space that consistently are farming drama and consistently cutting content on what they consider to be lolcows, you know, preying on a motherfucker's downfall, and then actually taking the steps to engage in their lives and actually harm them, directly contributing to their downfall. Does that make sense? I think you have to start with the cringe thing. Not everything people think is cringe is actually cringe or embarrassing. No, there's plenty of people that will find a lot of shit cringe. Okay? A lot. And I personally think that there's no way to earnestly manage this. It just doesn't work that way. It does make me want to it does make me want to just permanently get offline though. And I do think that it's awesome that a lot of content creators can do that because their content doesn't revolve around constantly being online, like myself and other streamers, where we kind of have to be tuned in all the time, and we constantly are getting a reaction to the things that we are saying, and there's a feedback loop. It's so crazy because there was a video I saw with 200K views, and the guy was quoting a Keemstar tweet about your career being over, and one click let me see how he followed Candace Owens, but he used to be a leftist, and it was sad to see that turn becoming alt-right. Yeah, there's even without I'm not talking about this from the perspective of like ideology or your own genuine political opinions. I'm simply talking about this devoid of politics, because a lot of that exists as well. For my situation in particular, obviously politics plays a major role in that too, right? But I don't know, like I am also obviously fascinated with like weird people and how they live their lives, and I do want to look at that kind of thing too, just like anybody else. But I personally don't know how you deal with that in a healthy way where people don't just pile on and fucking, you know, try to destroy this person's life. It sucks. Granted, a lot of this has been primarily on Twitter, where I can simply log off and ignore the haters, but no small amount is leaked into other parts of my regular day-to-day. Private DMs over Discord and Twitch, suspicious packages being sent to my family, but I've always kept quiet about it because speaking out about it publicly, defending myself, and any reaction to it would just encourage more. I will tell you this much. When you hear stuff like this, you probably think he's exaggerating. There's no fucking way. Okay? And let me tell you something, folks. I don't think he's exaggerating at all. Okay? This isn't because of what he did. This is just a constant for anyone that becomes the main villain on Twitter. The main guy on Twitter, for even a brief moment, will get you this level of hatred no matter what. And I feel like that is so insane. Like, that's not a normal way to operate. Like, how the fuck are we doing that? It's so toxic. The suspicious packages are from before the Hessa tweet. I know. I'm not talking about Hessa. I'm just talking about Twitter. This is not about politics. This is not about, Hessa's tweet. This is not even necessarily about Jokat all that much. I'm trying to make a broader point. This is simply about how things work online, okay? There's a rule of thumb online, and I try to describe this to my friends who are on the more normie side of content creation that don't fully grasp it. They don't fully understand it. They don't get it. Sometimes they become the main villain on Twitter for like a brief moment, and they think, oh, I need to get ahead of this. I need to deal with this head on. I need to correct the record. And that's a normal thing to want to do. Or maybe there's even a secondary interest inside of you where you're like, ooh, I could use this. People are paying attention. Maybe I could use this to like promote something. Okay? Maybe it feels good when you defend yourself and then your fans are galvanized and they get together and they say, yeah, we're going to defend you, Jokat. I'm not saying he did that for that purpose, but it's always a mistake. Always and forever a mistake. Because no matter who you are, it doesn't matter. You could be fucking a famous person, like an actual famous person, like an actual celebrity, like Amy Schumer, who has been consistently posting cringe. And not just cringe, but like really genocidal cringe, right? Like pro-genocide shit over and over again. And then she gets like death threats and she gets like people finding out where her children go to school. And then they try to like pursue or try to make threatening phone calls to her about that. And it's like, yeah, that is not necessarily because of what she said about Palestine or Israel. That's because she became a villain online, okay? That's literally because she became a villain online. And that's how it works. Doesn't matter. You could be the most famous person on the planet, or you could be a niche micro e-celeb. You can actually do a genocidal commentary where you are pro-genocide, or you can post a video about how you think women are really hot and you're gay for pussy. And it doesn't matter what the stakes are. What matters is how people react to it. When people see it, when it's in front of their eyes, there is a shit ton of people online who think it is perfectly appropriate to literally fucking rile up the base and grab the pitchforks and go absolutely nutty mode. Please explain gay for pussy. I mean, here, I'll just show you the video, the offending video. And you will understand immediately. Okay? That video is still out there. I mean, he's like, Jokat is also like very talented. Like, that's the other thing. Like, he's super talented. Look, here, this is the video that got 11 million views 2 years ago, and it certainly turned into a much larger problem recently for him.
Sad that there's no muscly girls in here. Well, I mean, yeah, but, you know, sure, I like to joke around and talk about how, oh, I'm strong women all the time, but that's not the only girls I like. I like big girls, pretty kitty girls, really witty girls, singing ditty girls. I like the licky girls with the nice thighs. I like a good chest, no matter what size. I like the belly folds, I like the six packs, really tall queens, and the short stacks. From the mild girls to the wild girls. You got style girls, make them round girls. Yeah, I just really like girls.
So yeah, he made this. I mean, it's cringe. It's cringe as hell. What I cringe about this video that it's not funny. What? That's it. That's the reason why people got fucking so mad. What is this? I feel like the argument you're making right now is the same argument people are making against saying from the river to the sea. People are saying that it's opportunistic anti-Semites hear it and think they have more allies than they do and take extremist action. What? I'm having a hard time grasping the analog here. I legitimately, I'm baffled, and I need you to explain it a little bit further. I actually am kind of baffled here. What do you mean? How? Make this connection work for me. It's only mildly cringe, not even that bad. Someone can make it about the animation being cringe, but the song is fucking nothing. No, it's the song that's cringe, not the animation. It's just like resembling fucking early Tumblr era hyper feminist, hypersexual guys, some of which came out to be sex pests and like people knew about it. That's what it signals to a lot of people when they see it. I'm not saying Jokat is like that at all, for the record, but I think that's the major point of contention here. Okay? It is just like that's what literally fucking raises red flags in their minds, in the minds of people that watch this and consume it and then get like, oh, fuck that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm simply stating what people are operating off of when they watch it. Overall, though, the word you're looking for is soy. I hate using that word, but Lamau. I mean, yeah, it's like the like soy-facing, Funko Pop owning male feminist guys in like 2014 who were just like, I love being horny, that kind of thing. And it's always going to be, when you're making like horny posting, when you're making content around being horny, it's going to be cringe no matter what. It's kind of like sexting, okay? In the moment, you might feel like you fired off a decent sext, but if you fucking rob it of the horniness and the context in which you said it, in that back and forth conversation, you're going to come across like Maroon 5 guy, Adam Levine, Divine, whatever his name is going to be fucking cringe. And that's what this is, okay? That's the major problem here. The larger, broader problem here is that he posted cringe, okay? That's it. It was well drawn. It's cute. It gets stuck in your head. It sounds like it hits the, I don't know what it is. It's like the Bella Porch face video, right? Like there are certain things that trigger our fucking primal lizard brains so perfectly where like it fires off all of your synapses. Okay? Like the original Bella Porch video where she's like doing like the weird facial movement and stuff, like that went omega viral. Why did it go so viral? Because it did something where it was just like, it was just perfect. For that moment in time, that was a perfect distillation of everything that was slated to go viral. And people freaked out over it and people loved it. And then Bella Porch, like, you know, basically created a fucking music career for herself after, off of that. It's an earworm, you say? Exactly. It's kind of like that. Or Nico Lols with the Bernie Sanders video, you know, the Bernie girl. Like, there are certain things that define a genre or define a point in time. There are certain videos that are super short, sometimes, you know, completely lucky, and it is born out of, like, circumstances, and then it just hits. Yeah, this is what I was talking about. This video. 63 million. Like, this video literally basically created the Bella Porch phenomena. Okay? That's it. That's all it took. The music worked perfectly with the facial movements and whatever. And the same goes for Jokat's I Like Girls video. Okay? And it hit really hard 2 years ago. It got 11 million views. It left the fucking target audience. People found it to be really cringe, but they still watched it. Okay? And then it got resurfaced, and people were like, oh, fuck this guy. And I don't know. I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know why we have this attitude online where we just kind of fucking decide like, well, this person's bad. So then you just like hunt down their family. And it sucks. I'm confused. What did the person do wrong? Nothing. The person, Jokat didn't do anything wrong. They just did the most wrong thing you can do, which is be cringe. Post cringe. That's it. I have a sneaking suspicion. One of the biggest L's that millennials have to their name is they're letting Chris Chan style lolcow harassment become socially acceptable. Yeah. I don't think it's socially acceptable still. I think the broadest majority of normies don't even fucking understand it. Try to explain any of that shit to a normal friend of yours that has a 9 to 5, and you will be met like a friend of yours that doesn't really go online. A friend of yours that, and this is, I'm very lucky. I'm blessed with many friends and family members that are exactly like this, so fucking far removed. Like Marat. If I try to explain to Marat, who is aware of shit happening online, if I try to explain to Marat what lolcow is, or a specific lolcow, he would look at me like, what the fuck are you saying? Please never do this ever again. Marat's the type of motherfucker that sits there, plays Railroad Tycoon on his phone, and watches like industrial power tool videos. Okay? He is the type of motherfucker that's in Facebook groups still about all of his hobbies, whether it be dual sport riding, or whether it be off-roading, or whether it be power tools in general. Like, that's the type of dude he is, right? He is the most normal you can be. To me, that's how normal people are. That's how they operate, right? And so there is still a shit ton. Does he play Roller Coaster Tycoon? Yeah, sorry, not Railroad Tycoon, Roller Coaster Tycoon. To be fair, like, there are a shit ton of people like that. And they're completely oblivious to all the stuff that we look at online. But the problem is sometimes it has the capacity to just like seep into the normal world, to the normie sphere, right? It's like, try to explain this to a bus driver conundrum. Yeah, you will not be able to fucking do that unless you found like the most extremely online bus driver on the planet. I don't think all this chronically online shit is necessarily unintelligible for normies. It's just really it's really silly shit half the time. But yeah, so my point is this. We personally have the capacity to inflate and make serious whatever the fuck we are hyper focusing on. Whatever we are like watching at any given moment. And when you're online, it turns into like this massive echo chamber of negativity. And I think deep down inside, the reason why we look for people to make fun of is because, one, people are fascinating and it's funny to make fun of people. Fair. I do it all the fucking time. But the other reason why we do it is because, especially online, one, oftentimes the people that are doing it are anonymous, so they can get away with it because no one can turn around and be like, bitch, what about your own shit? The fuck do you mean? Here's a post of yours from fucking 4 years ago where you're saying, how the fuck can we, what if men were milking babies with their penises, which is a real fucking tweet from Kira, right? Like, that's a great example. Like, that dude deleted that tweet, but that tweet will live on permanently. He actually fucking said that. He actually posted that shit, right? Like, that's incredibly fucking insane. It's one of the worst posts of all time. And the thing is, like, you can kind of get away with it by deleting it and being, like, relatively anonymous. Okay? But the point is, people recognize that tweet from a blurred abstraction of the layout of the screenshot. Exactly. So, the point is, you know, most people think, like, under the guise of anonymity, I could just fucking make fun of other people and not necessarily have that be, not necessarily be in the crosshairs in a similar capacity. So they just get away with that. They get away with it over and over again. And the other reason why a lot of people do this is because they think, you know, they have certain aspects of themselves that they hate, that they despise, right? Certain aspects of themselves that they hate, that they find to be cringe. And therefore, they spend a whole bunch of time pointing at other things and pointing at other people that are cringe in their little groups so that they can fucking feel better and be like, don't look at me. Don't think about how much of a fucking loser I am. Look at this guy. Let's dogpile on this guy so that we can all feel better about how fucking sad our lives are without even thinking about it. Okay? That's it. I'll give you an example. Like, I was doing a meet and greet at TwitchCon. Okay? And at first, I had no idea, but there was a group of like little kids standing in the corner while I was doing a meet and greet. One of them was live streaming it. It's normal. It's TwitchCon. Okay? And I don't know. I got like kind of bad vibes from it. I couldn't really tell what the fuck was going on. Okay? And then they came up during the meet and greet to take photos. And it turns out they're DGG. They were literally in public. Were like, we're DGG. Okay? And it's like a very different energy when you are actually coming up to a person in the real world to talk to them, right? When I can see how sweaty you are, right? When I can see, you know, how your hands are shaking because you want to fire off a meme in the real world where automatically the setting is not good. The setting is not good at all for a situation like that. When I can like smell your smells, it's just like it turns into an entirely different situation. I know that it's a joke that people say like, oh, you wouldn't, you know, you wouldn't keep that same energy in the real world. Okay? But it is kind of true. It's a different, for those who are asking who this group is another streamers community. They love lolcowing or doing basically what happened to Jokat to me for like 5 years at this point. But my point is, it's very different when you try to do that in the real world where people go, well, like normal human beings go, what the fuck are you doing? Like, why would you do this? Right? So that's something I think about a lot where, like, would this fly in the real world? Like, would this be a normal interaction in the real world? Oh, God. Would this interaction fly in the real world? Would you be able to describe this to a random normal human? Okay? And at the end of the day, when you behave like you do online in the real world, you end up coming across like iDubbbz at TanaCon. No, literally. And no one will look back at that fondly. And if you grow out of that, and I hope you do, many people do, right? One day you will look back at that and feel shame. Deep shame in your heart for your participation. Okay? So, for me, that's kind of the rules and the standards I try to abide by as a person that is hyper online and fascinated with the phenomena that occurs online, but also tries to maintain one leg in the real world as best as possible, to try to be as much as a normie coded person as possible. The fact that I'm even saying normie coded, of course, implies how permanently brain broken I am. Right? Didn't you try to explain incels to a hairdresser? Yeah, that's a meme. But that is the meme. That is the joke. The joke is me deliberately trying to explain online culture to a normie. That is the joke. I am the butt of the joke in that situation. I do that deliberately because I'm not doing it in that situation to be like, look how cool this thing is. I'm doing it specifically to make myself the joke. I'm trying to be an entertainer for your comedic consumption. You know? So, I guess we covered so much of this, right? We covered so much of that. But like I said, the main thing to always remember is just be normal. That's number one. Number two, don't be mean to people because they are cringe. And if you are in groups or if you're a part of message boards that regularly hunt down new targets whose lives you try to manipulate and possibly even ruin, and this is a very real phenomena, and it's becoming more streamlined in my opinion. Okay? Don't do that. I also think that this has to start within the community. Chat dogpiling on chatters is also a problem. Even I've gotten DMs from chatters of this community being fucking mean. It sucks. Absolutely. I hate that. I absolutely fucking hate that. That's why I yell, and I should do more of that. I should yell more when people dogpile on others, no matter who it is, no matter who I pull up. Anyway. I never meant to make anyone upset. I only just wanted to make things I was passionate about for fun. I never intended this video to be really all that much deeper than just a thing I wanted to do on a whim because I thought it could be fun. I never planned to have a YouTube be my job, but people happen to like that, like what I made, so I thought it could be a good idea to make more of it, use to pursue projects I've always wanted to make, as well be the change in YouTube I wanted to see. I was inspired by the channels I watched growing up, the wonderful friends that have encouraged and inspired me to be who I am and make what I want. I still want to make things, but perhaps I should just keep them to myself for the time being. For anyone that cares, I'll still be continuing Heart of Elinthi and the Joe Mega Charity, but once those are finished, I will be taking an indefinite break from posting anything online. You know? Even if it's someone like me who thinks differently than you, actually asking, not sarcastic, yes. I almost always pull up individuals that have a different perspective than myself, and then they get dogpiled regularly. That's precisely what I'm talking about when I say don't yell at people when I pull them up in the chat simply because I disagree with them. Do not dogpile on them. Okay? Anyway, it's a decision I've considered ever since the first hate wave from about a year ago, but wanted to sit on it and see if the feeling would persist. I know now this is the best choice for me. If you took the time out to read all this, thank you. I'm sorry for causing so much trouble. Thank you for watching my videos. Like, I'm the most brain broke motherfucker on the planet, okay? I basically professionally experience what this person is experiencing here on a daily fucking basis. And it shouldn't have to happen to every fucking person online that ends up being the main guy online. Okay? I don't like that. It just sucks. It sucks. Let people be cringe. And you know, you can laugh at cringe shit too. But I think there's a deeper level of cringe out there, which is when people go above and beyond. This is Joe Mega Charity. He's mentioning he was doing it for trans rights in the UK. Yeah. And one other phenomenal update from the Jokat situation. Okay. One other phenomenal update from the Jokat situation. So they are just mad he objectified women? No. Is that a lot of because it was like the irony poison leftist that made fun of him originally for the video, immediately the right that is negatively polarized against that sort of thing decided to defend him. And then they found out that he's pro-trans. So now they're also mad at him. It sucks how often I see people say you should grow a thicker skin to be online, as if a few mean comments are the same as having your family harassed. Yeah, no, people say you need to have a thicker skin to be online. They say that because they're never in the crosshairs in the same way. And they never can imagine being in the crosshairs in the same way. The closest people get to that is literally when I pull their name up in this chat and people start dogpiling on them for a brief moment. I still don't get what he did wrong. He didn't do anything like wrong from the normal standards that you would think of. He did something wrong in the sense that online you can never be cringe. Souls Luminous said, and also donated, This entire situation just makes me feel nihilistic about the internet. They harass what I would consider one of the nicest people online. They try to destroy his life over a video that he thought it was funny. Hell, you yourself see how much people dogpile on others just because they have a different opinion from you. Yeah, it happens in this community as well. I hate it. I think it's awful. And we should be more careful and not do that. And I yell about it all the time. I always say, don't tap the glass. Don't tap the glass. It's fucking awful. Now, the problem is, it's not like Hessa personally was like, yeah, fuck this guy. Let's go fuck him up. I hate his video. She just said it was cringe. She basically signaled that it was cringe to her own in-group. And then it became the main story for a day. Would you be mad if I said you took too much on this topic? Mine Gouda. I would not be mad because I do think I talked a lot about this subject matter. So much so that 2 ad breaks have passed and I still am talking about it. But the reason why I talk about it this a lot is because I think it's important. I think it's important because this is like a part of being online. I'm a hyper online person. This is a hyper online community. It's just the nature of the game, right? And I think it's good to have like an SOP, you know? Especially because I do also want to continue laughing at silly, dumb, cringe shit. But I also don't want people to be bullied as a consequence of that or harassed as a consequence of that. You know? Standard operating procedures, exactly. A parable about not dogpiling is always relevant to the hyper online community. Yes. I don't know a lot about this, but wouldn't this be what the lol cow people want? Attention for this, or am I wrong? Did you see the parallel situation that occurred the same time yesterday with the kid who didn't get into college because he's white? Yes, I did. I did see that. I think the more atomized our society becomes, the more alienated we become, the more we basically create a sense of community or online, the worse this is going to get. And we don't have any fucking codes of conduct on it. It's like, it's basically anarchy. There is no legal structure to deal with the real world implications of someone being dogpiled. And it absolutely sucks. It sucks. Here, send me the link of the kid who asked to take down the tweet because he never said it was because he was white. Do you have that? Let's take a look at that too. It's a white supremacist account who's like a fucking psycho who posted a tweet about a kid. But I want the original video as well. I don't care about how he deleted the post. I want to show the original video first and foremost. Anyway, I already snuck in the fucking ad break, by the way, and I'm running it now. Meanwhile, every furry on the internet is consistently dogpiled on people outside the community for cringe, so honestly, fuck that concept of non-conformity for being cringe because that's actually cringe that has detrimental effects on young people. Where is it? Does anyone have the original video at all or no? You're sending me the link of this dude who deleted the post about the Cornell University. But yeah, is this guy? Oh, here. 460 plus hours of community service, summer college courses, built investment portfolios, $160,000 scholarships, skipped the grade, played clarinet for 10 years, but it was still not good enough. So this person said bro got rejected because he's white. This video went viral on Twitter. This random person that posted this on his fucking TikTok became the main villain of Twitter for the day. Okay. And when I saw this, the bro got rejected because he's white, I thought the same thing that this person whose name I will not say online, or ever, as a matter of fact, I thought the same thing. I was like, well, didn't they get rid of affirmative action? So what's going on? Right? So, but anyway, that post went viral, and people were literally like, that person went viral. People were saying that like this person is a loser and like they should just take the L. People were pontificating on how this kind of standard in colleges actually just like destroys affirmative action, destroys like middle class whites, right? And how they don't have that upward social mobility, yada yada yada. But the funniest part about it is that like this guy posted this video, right? And then the dude DM'd the guy who posted the video, said, I'm the person in the video you posted about. My life is being turned inside out because of this whole scenario. I didn't say it was because of race. If anything, it was my extracurriculars ability to spell out a story of what I wanted to do. I'm begging for you to take down this post because it has completely jeopardized my future. So the guy went, which is insane. His response is insane. Hi, John. I wanted to let you know that I'm taking down my post now. Thank God he did that. I hope you realize that you need to be careful about what you post online in the future. My post was meant to be satirical and humorous, but unfortunately, you can't control how people perceive things online. Yeah, satirical and humorous. You literally said this dude couldn't get into college because he's white. That's all you said. Like, what the fuck? Where's the satire and humor? Anyway, it's interesting, though, because I did see that post going viral on my timeline, and it made me think about a bunch of things. For example, I think people greatly overemphasize how important Ivy Leagues are. Okay? I think people greatly overemphasize how important college is, for sure, but I do think that you should go to college because it's good. It's good for the experience, good for at least, like, developing some level of critical thinking. It's good for being in a diverse environment for the first time in your life. Good for your development. Okay? But I think college is good for those reasons, but you definitely do not have to go to an Ivy League. Okay? Didn't you go to an Ivy League or at least a very prestigious college? No. I did not go to a fucking very prestigious college or an Ivy League at all. I went to the State University of New Jersey. I went to Rutgers, dog. That's not a prestigious institution at all. I mean, there's prestigious departments in that institution. But come on. It's shit. Rutgers, the public Ivy? Yeah, that's copium. Anyway, listen. Listen to me. Listen to me. The point is, I am one of the very few people on the planet that at least like utilizes his fucking degrees to a certain degree. Okay? Most people don't do that anyway. And I don't even utilize it in the way that you normally, in the track that you would normally follow with a poli-sci comm double major, okay? So, I'm unique in that sense. But you don't go to Ivy Leagues specifically because you are going to get a best education. You go to Ivy Leagues because every single other person in your class is literally from an incredibly fucking wealthy family, and you are going to have the best network of all time. That's the real reason why people want to go to Ivy Leagues, and that's where they get the unironic leg up, the social mobility. Okay? If you can get your leg in, if you get your foot in through the door in Ivy League, great. But you don't need to go there. You do not need to go there at all. And I think a lot of people highly place a shit ton of emphasis and value on Ivy Leagues in general. Okay? You certainly don't need that to make money either, by the way. As evidenced by the fact that despite the fact that I went to a relatively shitty state university, in my contemporaries and my peers in my class I make more money than most of the kids that graduated from a fucking Ivy League. Obviously, I hit the lottery, and that's not something that is like perfectly replicable. But the reality is, you don't have to. You don't like. That's survivorship bias, though. Wait, what? No, it's the opposite. No. If I said I can do it, so can you, that would be survivorship bias. That I didn't say that at all. It's the opposite. I'm openly admitting that I am a incredibly lucky, incredibly fortunate individual, and it's not exactly replicable in general. My point is, you don't have to go to an Ivy League institution for. You don't have to go to an Ivy League institution. You don't even have to go to college. But the reality is, if you go to college, you're going for the experience, and it's not the actual education that you're getting from college that is like profoundly important. And you're certainly not getting better education in an Ivy League institution. You're simply getting a much better network in an Ivy League, and that network is what keeps you afloat. But I do think that people place a shit ton of emphasis on getting into an Ivy League and overemphasize it. That's my point. Did your brother go to an Ivy League? If you can work in NASA without an Ivy League, then Hassan is 100% important. First of all, he did not. Anyway. But ultimately, there is no perfect solution. But I did think that this was another funny phenomena of like people. This was another funny phenomena of people getting fucking dogpiled online. Okay? He then follows up with, however, you should not let the negative comments of some people online affect your future prospects. These comments are insignificant in the grand scheme of things, which, not wrong. And people move on quickly from one thing to the next. Remember, your future is in your hands, and you alone have the power to shape it. I sincerely wish you all the best and lots of success. Yeah. I wonder why some chatters are even here. They seem to really dislike you and want to get a dunk on you. Yeah, a lot of them are also like 35-month subscribers because I think it builds resentment after watching us. Anyway, but if you want to understand how big of a fucking weirdo this loser is, he said, to the men mad at me, you are acting like a chick. Are you proud of yourself? To the women mad at me, who allowed you to log online? You should be frolicking through meadows, baking pies, painting with your children, and being your R-worded, wholesome self. We love you that way. Just cool, normal thoughts from a cool, normal guy. Okay? What's that top comment say? Also, I love trying to dunk on you. Let me do it. No, you're not allowed. I wish I was born in Chuvashia, USSR in like 1970 so I could have done a doctorate in chess and checkers and then do something unrelated like hand make violins and still be a homeowner. Bad spawn I got. Yeah. That could have been a very cool way to go about life. Let's be real. Last part of the online phenomena covering the fascinating world of online and online culture. Friend of the show, Tom Nicholas, one of my favorite oi bruvs, okay? Very good oi bruv. Made a 1-hour video about why YouTubers hold microphones now. Now, obviously, it's not about fucking why YouTubers hold microphones. As soon as I see this, I assume it's probably going to be about like how TikTok and viral phenomena dictate how culture works. YouTubers don't need to hold microphones, but because people on TikTok are holding microphones, YouTubers are holding microphones as well because they think, whether they realize it or not, doesn't matter. They think intrinsically that like it helps with the algo. It's the same principle behind why TikTokers fake podcasts. TikTokers don't actually have real podcasts, and yet for some reason they fucking make they make believe podcasts so they can clip it as though they are like in a real podcast where the microphone is not even attached to something. Okay? There you go. Finally, someone is getting to the bottom of this horse shit. Does this topic require, deserve, and pay off the investment of a full hour of my life? Is a question I desperately need YouTubers to start asking themselves, please. Tom Nicholas responds, so this video is largely about how the design of online platforms shapes the content which is posted to them. Coincidentally, an early draft contained a section on how the quote tweet function encourages Twitter users to constantly dunk on one another in order to appear witty and smart, which is a thing I'm guilty of all the time. It's very tempting to just quote tweet with, wait till this person learns about books having titles or something and have a smug off. But kind of fun to see the point substantiated nonetheless. So, I mean, there's 8 billion podcasts out there. Who's to know which ones are real or fake from clips alone? Yeah, except you do know. You do know when they have a fucking SM7B and it's not connected to anything because the voice, you can tell when a voice is coming through the microphone, like right now, when you're hearing me speak, versus when it's an unplugged microphone and it's an actual different audio source that you're tracking the video from, because then there's like a significant amount more noise pollution in it. So, you know, that's how you figure it out fairly quickly. And most of the time, those are not real podcasts anyway, because like if you try to search it, if you try to look for the actual original source material, you can't find it. These guys are just simply creating the illusion that podcasting is a more appropriate, more professional medium, and therefore they think if they present themselves as not simply TikTokers, but instead podcasters, which I think as an old person is hilarious, that like podcasting has become a more professional medium now. But they, in the eyes of TikTokers and Gen Z and Gen Alpha, appearing as though you have a podcast makes you seem more professional and more credible, which is hilarious. Anyway, and the last part of the online culture is, here it is, iDubbbz. Trust me, it wasn't on my bingo card either, he says. In 2017, the famous iDubbbz video where he, was screaming the N-word at Tana. And in 2023, iDubbbz is wearing the Austin Show smelly shirt, it seems, on the H3H3 Steamies. Doesn't it look like the same shirt that Austin wore? But yeah, I'm very happy for Ian. Obviously, iDubbbz has had, in my opinion, he's changed dramatically over the years, and he did it on his own. Like he did it through his friends and whatnot, but like, that was a real organic change. Same with Ethan. Ethan Klein is another great example of this as well. A person who like recognized like, oh shit, this is what my fan base is becoming. I don't like that. I need to make some changes. I love growth. I love reformation. I think people forget how much I like that and how much I value that. It's very frustrating that people are so stuck. Oh, it's not the Austin smelly shirt. Even the BBC is shocked by this. Okay, we'll now we'll get into some real world news as well. Now iDubbbz fans thinks he's cucked by his wife. Yes, because there's a lot of sad people out there, man. That's it. My goal, look, I don't get real corny all the time, although I do certainly get corny. I want to leave you off on this note. If there's one note I can leave you off on, and that is, okay, be more charitable. Be kind to one another. Be ruthless to systems, but be kind to one another. Okay? And be more charitable and always believe in the capacity of change. People do have that capacity, and you should cherish it when people do change. Don't immediately assume that they're doing this for some cynical purpose. Okay? That's it. This is something that I have advocated for since day one. It's ironically something that I rarely ever benefit from myself. No one ever personally directs that for me, and often will do everything they fucking can to be like, yeah, you are a bad person. You're cynically, saying the things that you're saying. It must be for some other reason. But that's okay. Ultimately, when I see someone change for the better, I will always respect that, and I will always try to get this community to be understanding of that as well. Except Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro has never demonstrated a singular fucking change in his life so far. There's also a difference between people who literally make money doing nonsense, like posting fucking awful reactionary content versus normies or people who are posting reactionary content who do legitimately realize like maybe it's bad. You have to think about it from the perspective of self-interest. If you've made your living off of like a one type of commentary, if you make a living off of one type of commentary and then you fucking turn around, right? And then you turn around and just absolutely light that shit on fire in the same way that iDubbbz did, when he could have just as easily continued making that kind of commentary and probably enjoyed the many benefits that came with that. Okay? But he chose to literally fight against that in his own community and suffer greatly by his former fans. You know, there's probably a level of being genuine there. And I will use an example from my life for you as well. This is something I bring up quite frequently. You rarely ever see people move in the leftist direction to grift. You only see them move in the right-wing direction, right? So if you understand that people are motivated by self-interest, why the fuck wouldn't people just do more reactionary content? As many do. If I wanted to be a grifter, I would do right-wing content. There is no grifting in the left-wing space. The left-wing space is very puritanical, or not puritanical, sorry. The left-wing space, well, it can be, but the left space online is beholden to purity spirals, self-defeating purity spirals. There's always like a level of cynicism associated with it. And you very rarely ever see people make buku bucks or is like anywhere near as profoundly successful on every objective metric like right-wing commentators, okay? You literally make more than like any of the right-wing grifters, though. I was going to grift, I'd copy you. XD is wrong. You're wrong. That's what I'm saying. That's completely wrong. Even if that was the truth, which it is not, but even if I was making more, then I would be the only person making that much money. But you're so wrong. Look at the Daily Wire. I've never turned down a $50 million contract like Steven Crowder did. Okay? You know Steven Crowder is broke? Yeah, Steven Crowder is broke. And he fucking turned down a $50 million contract from the Daily Wire. That kind of contract has never been presented to me at all. Okay? You need to understand that. Exactly. So that's the point. And there are obvious, like, structural, maybe I got to change my grift plans. Yeah. There are obviously structural reasons as to why that grift only works in one direction, and that's because the consolidation of wealth and power is in one direction, especially when it comes to advocating for keeping the economy and the economic mode of production running in the way that you want it to run. Those who are at the tippy top obviously want this current capitalist structure to continue and therefore are not going to give you a shitload of money, okay, on the basis that you are doing propaganda. Do you understand? No billionaire is going to be like, oh, Hassan, I like that guy. And people will turn around and go, okay, well, what about Amazon? You have a contract with Amazon. You're on Twitch, okay? One, I don't get paid by Jeff Bezos to do this kind of commentary. I get paid by Jeff Bezos or Twitch to stay exclusively on Twitch because I make money for Twitch every time you guys subscribe to this channel, every time you guys watch ads on this channel, every time you choose to, whether because you hate me or because you love me, join the stream and watch Twitch. There's a difference between that and getting paid specifically because you are doing right-wing commentary. Especially when there is a need and an interest from consolidated wealth and centers of consolidated wealth to continue churning out right-wing propaganda. Okay? Yeah, we're going to do the Missouri gay bar story in a second. Cops are fucking back in a big way. In an unimaginably big way. 100%, they don't care about your politics, just that you bring views. Exactly. Exactly. Don't you think it's funny that capitalists pay you to be anti-capitalist? No. It is still very lucrative to be a socialist content creator. Ironically, not true. If you are going to be a content creator, you shouldn't be comparing being a socialist content creator to, I don't know, a stevedore. You should be comparing being a socialist content creator to being a content creator of any other sort. Okay? And on that framework, if you look at all of the other left-wing content creators out there and socialist content creators out there, no, it is not even remotely close. There are people out there who make a shit ton more in the content creator space. Lucrative, bro, you make 10 times more than the average CEO. Brother, I am unique. That is what I am trying to explain to you. I am a unique phenomena. There's like one or two media properties out there that make this much money on the left. I am literally the exception to the rule. So pointing to me and going, well, this guy fucking made it, is as silly as thinking that, I don't know, fucking, what is a good exception to the rule story? I don't know. I don't have an analog for it. I'm not very good at what I'm doing. Not true. A bunch of bread tubers make a lot of money. You're just extremely wealthy. Yes, but you're not comparing bread tubers to their alternatives, okay? On the other side, that make a shit ton more. On the commentary space, on the political commentary space, I make probably around the same amount of money as like a Dave Rubin does. And it's laughable to make this comparison because it's still a shit ton of money, but then you look at like on the right-wing side and you look at a guy like Dave Rubin and you're like, he doesn't even have any fucking fans. How is he making the same amount of money or even more? That's what you need to realize at that point. People like Tim Pool, people like Ben Shapiro, people like Steven Crowder even are way, way above and beyond that. And the amount of hours that I put in because of the way that I generate revenue is directly by streaming every single day. The amount of hours I put in versus the amount of hours that like a Dave Rubin or a Ben Shapiro type puts in is also not even comprehensible. Okay? What? Oh, this guy's just trying to argue with me. A capitalist would be incarcerated in a socialist system for the stuff you do. Yeah, if a capitalist in a socialist system was engaging in like incredibly reactionary content, they wouldn't be incarcerated, but they would definitely get some kind of punitive damage, I guess. Which already exists in a capitalist structure too. The only difference is the reason why I don't present a threat is the same reason why I don't go to jail for the things that I say. This is something that I've mentioned quite a bit. I said this even yesterday. I would be going to jail, like in China, for criticizing the Chinese government. I would be going to jail in Turkey for criticizing the Turkish government. The reason why I don't go to jail in America for criticizing the American government is because in America, you basically can say whatever the fuck you want and criticize the government as best as you can, as best as you want to, because America is the hegemonic power and therefore doesn't actually have to fear someone like myself. Now, that might change, right? Why don't you get anything? Why do you get millions of dollars instead? What do you mean? So Not true. The USSR was a hegemonic for a very long time and they ran gulags. The USSR was a hegemonic power? Really? You think when the USSR was operating that we were living in a global socialist form of governance? Like, that's what you think was going on? Honestly. The USSR was the hegemonic superpower at the time? Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on a sock account, but if this is the best you got, is a little silly. Okay? The second time anyone tried to revolt against them, they invaded the country. 1956 Hungary, 1968 Czech Republic. Fair. Yeah. But that does not make them a hegemonic power. Do you think Russia is a hegemonic power? Or they invaded Ukraine. Do you think Russia is a hegemonic power, or are they a regional power? Like, you're going through your dialogue tree and you're using certain words as a substitute. Totally different. Totally different. What? What do you mean? There was never a moment where
I think
what is he?
Eddie is doing like strict historical materialism when he says that there is a difference between chattel slavery in the antebellum South versus industrial wage slavery.
Yes, thank you, Hassan. That's exactly what I was doing, and I've actually written an article on it called American Slavery and Global Capitalism. Historically speaking, in America, slavery was a different mode of production than capitalism, because the main source of labor in the Confederate South was slave labor. It came from people who were bought and sold as commodities. After the Civil War, when slavery was abolished, people were no longer sold as commodities, but instead people sold their labor as commodities. They became wage laborers rather than slaves. We transitioned out of slave relations of production into capitalist relations of production. Although, as I lay out in this article, American slavery was very capitalistic compared to other forms of slavery, say the kind that existed in ancient Rome. There were capitalist markets emerging for the first time, both in Europe and in the American North, and there was a huge demand for cotton that was coming from, say, the textile mills in these developing capitalist countries. So there was a massive cotton market where the enslavers could sell basically unlimited cotton. When the Civil War kicked off, there was actually an economic crash because that giant cotton market went away for a lot of the capitalists. So it was a very bourgeois or capitalist form of slavery, but it was still slavery where people are bought and sold as commodities, which is different than capitalism where labor is bought and sold as a commodity.
Anyway. Get Rectus on? Wait, what? We agree. What do you mean? Tanky promoting more tankies. Tanky, try to dilute the meaning of words until they're meaningless to avoid the topic. Classic tanky play. Are you guys okay? Like, people that come in here to say stuff like that, are you all right? Like, what's going on, man? What's going on in your life that you're, like, just using this word that you just learned and probably not in the right direction anyway?
Damn, this guy's good.